Assalamu alaikum and good day to you. Indeed, my name is Ahmad and I'm from Cool Mom Super Dad Consultancy. Very pleased and honored to share with you our thoughts on how to make your marriage a beautiful one. And indeed, you know, the creation of Adam and Hawa starts in the heaven, and therefore the matrimonial of a marriage starts in Jannah. Our job is to sustain and maintain it. It takes two to tango. Conflict will not arise if the other party kept silent, or the other party would not respond, or the other party effectively engage with one another. And I think this is our mission and idea to help us to manage our conflict together. What I wanted to share is that in day-to-day life, we need to create the act of kindness, the act that will make the warm feeling, the feeling of joy and happiness. This feeling will generate and create the chemical in your body known as oxytocin. And this is how it happens to mothers who have babies, where they have the gush of oxytocin, feeling the warmth and love to their child. And this is what we, especially husband, needs to do to create that oxytocin to both parties. And by doing something simple, something that is doable and something that will slowly develop and nurture that relationship. It's either being able to wash the dishes, it's either being able to switch on the light when the room is dark. It's also to ask for whether she needs a towel before she leaves the bathroom. And this simple act really creates that warm feeling towards one another. And because of this, our job as husband and wife is to develop that emotional bank, continuously depositing the positive, the warm relationship, and towards a happy and memorable moment in their life. In this book, The Kindness Miracle, Jamilah tabulated and inventorized about 100 simple acts of kindness. And I'll draw your attention to page 221, which I will always do to young couples, especially to the husband, to go to item 9. Give your spouse a foot massage. You don't have to be an expert or reflexologist, but that simple act of kindness towards the end of the day would then create that warm feeling between both of you, so that then you'll end the day with a chapter that will open up the moment that you will cherish for the rest of your life.
We are talking about conflict today, and the word conflict very likely will make you very uncomfortable. You start thinking about sweaty palms, palpitating heart. It's not a pleasant experience for most of us. But what if there is this very idea where you can transform conflict by changing the way how you respond to conflict? There is such a thing as conflict transformation, and that's the focus of this session. Now, I want to tell you a story, a real story about what happened to a woman named Rosie. Rosie married a man of her choice. After several years, they have got 3 beautiful children. But in terms of the quality of their relationship, it wasn't getting better. Just like many other couples, they started having disagreements early on in their marriage. And it got worse and worse over the years. So they just plodded along until to the point where one day Rosie realized that even the simplest things like what they are going to have for lunch or dinner, or who throws out the trash, becomes a big fight between she and her husband. And according to her, both she and her husband were emotional. They didn't know how to react positively to the conflict that were becoming more and more frequent. So both of them decided to nullify their marriage, go for divorce. And Rosie thought after the divorce that that's the end of it. She wants to start afresh with just looking after herself and the children. But that was not to be, because what happened next was her husband or her ex-husband decided to take away the children and hid them from her for 5 long years. Imagine the pain that Rosie went through. But one day, the father of these children, Rosie's ex-husband, after having married a different woman, perhaps realized that the new woman cannot really replace Rosie as the mother to the 3 children. So he decided to reunite Rosie and her children. When I heard this story, I asked myself, how could this happen? How could two people, 2 adults, mature adults, who once upon a time loved each other, developed a deep hatred for one another? They simply despised one another. How could this happen? The thing is, why do conflict occur in the first place? That's because we came from different backgrounds. We have different perceptions. We have different set of values sometimes, although we might on the outside believe that we believe in certain things as Muslims, as Christian and whatnot, but the very idea that the very reality that you came from different backgrounds means that you might see different things in a different way, the same things in a different way. Now, I want to share with you my screen. Hang on a moment. There is a narration by Aisha. Allah's messenger said to Aisha, I know when you are pleased with me or angry with me. And Aisha said, how do you know that? He said, when you are pleased with me, you say, no, by the Lord of Muhammad. But when you are angry with me, you say, no, by the Lord of Ibrahim. Thereupon I said, yes, you are right, but by Allah, O Allah's messenger, I live nothing but your name. What do we learn from here? That conflict occurs in the best of marriages, right? Because Aisha was the wife of the Prophet, and yet she did have misunderstandings with the Prophet. It's very normal. So the first thing that I want to tell you is that it's normal, and it's not whether you have conflict. You know, it could be about the money, about the finances, about your in-laws, about the children, about household chores. But at the end of the day, it's about how you respond to the conflict that matters. I want to share with you this model of conflict transformation, which I find helpful. It's helpful because it's easy to understand. It's based on the Thomas Kilmann method. What you see here are animal characters, and these animal characters are no more than just metaphors to make us understand how we might respond to conflict, either in a negative way or in a positive way. First off, let's see the shark. Now, what's the character of a shark? A shark is someone who is aggressive, who wants to dominate, who wants to win all the time. So this might not be a wise thing to do when you are caught up in a heated exchange with your wife or your husband, with a spouse, even with your children, even with your own parents. Be mindful of whether you are being a shark. The second one is a turtle. What does a turtle do? When there is conflict, it will hide, right? So what does it mean for us humans? If you are responding to conflict like a turtle, it means that you like to be quiet, you refuse to speak. This is what we call the cold shoulder, the silent treatment, going on for days without having any conversation with your spouse. In fact, when I was researching for my book, The Kindness Miracle, there was this man who told me his story. And he said that he was once married to a woman, his first wife, whom he divorced later. After 2 years, they went their separate ways because the wife didn't really know how to respond to conflict positively. Anytime she was upset with him, she would stay very quiet, refuse to talk for days on end, and he didn't have any idea what was it that upset her, right? So this is not a helpful way of responding to conflict. Next, we have the fox character, a wily character, smart, but sometimes you might have your own idea what a fox is, but basically this symbolizes someone who likes to compromise. I win some, you lose some. Both settle for less. And then we have number 4. Character number 4 is a teddy bear. Now, in a situation where you respond like a teddy bear, it means that you submit just to preserve the relationship. And in some cases, this happens in an abusive relationship. And what I want to point out is that if you are in an abusive relationship, the best thing to do is to seek professional help. No one deserves to be abused in a marriage or any kind of relationship for that matter. And finally, we have the owl, where you have the option to collaborate. You have one idea and your spouse has one idea, and you combine these two ideas to create an idea that is not one, not two, but the best of both sides. So as much as possible, be the owl. Try to respond to conflict in a way that you bring fresh ideas and fresh solutions to whatever that is bothering the both of you. I want to summarize what we have discussed today. First of all, it's so important to focus on the problem, whatever is the source of the conflict that is upsetting you or the other person. Focus less on the person. Focus on the problem, less on the person. And number 2 is that many couples do not split because of conflict. This is a fact. They split because of how they respond to conflict. Number 3, remember this mantra: it's not you against me, it's you and me against the problem. Number 4, it is possible to get better outcomes even if only one person changes in the beginning. This is a question, an issue that I have often been asked. Is it possible for the marriage to work out even if I am the only one who changes? Yes, it is possible in the beginning, because when you change, the other person is likely to change as well. So be patient, try it out first. And finally, number 5 is to reflect and identify your conflict response style. Very important. Before you point a finger to the other person, reflect on yourself, and if necessary, find a better, kinder way to get better outcomes.
Ladies and gentlemen, marriage has many different roles. Sometimes you are the husband and sometimes you are the wife, or you could be the son-in-law or daughter-in-law. But remember that you play an important role as the partner to your spouse, because partner means, and it's spelled with P-A-R-T, where you are part of the problem and you are also part of the solution to solve the problem. There is no point in trying to win the battles and lose the war, because at the end of the day, it's your spirit of kindness, your act of wanting to have that warm, endearing relationship, and the feeling that at the end of this life, both of you are going to hold hands romantically all the way to spend your life ever and forever in Jannah. We wish you all the best. We pray that Allah will give you the strength and the courage, and we hope that Allah will give the hidayah for you to sustain and maintain your relationship in this wonderful marriage then. Thank you.